I actually came to Berlin for love about 8 years ago. Start a new life in Berlin because we heard so many things about the great bohemian lifestyle. Basically, the Flamingo is a very small club. I think the times where, like in the 90s, you could have a huge club for 800 people where people drink vodka. Energy drink, I think, is over. And I think it's more about meeting people. It's about micro clubs, small bars, meeting a network of friends. Don't feel intimidated by talking to the person next to you because they are quite likely to come from a similar background. The idea behind Flamingo is not just to be a club. I think we treat most projects that we do more as something more conceptual. It's like a creative playground. Avant-garde can be something that hasn't been done before or is for its time quite brave. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's the most popular thing, but I think it's appealing to people to think outside the box. I think that's possibly the best that you could expect of avant-garde. Heartbeat, rise. I met Jeremy about 4 years ago. With the art that he's doing, I think he's trying to make something visible that is, at the end of the day, something of a very personal experience. And I think it's almost attempting to show something that is not possible to show, because it's an experience that everyone is experiencing in a different way. Again.
My early work was about subculture, generally subcultures I'd been a part of, kind of working from an inside perspective, and also working with them when they became sort of co-opted by the mainstream. And sort of, well, Christian F. itself as a film, I mean, the only reason that I rented it, I think when I was 9 or 10, was because David Bowie was in it. I mean, it was just this cover in the video shop, some German film. It's an addition to my work, which is normally about altered states. It's a public version of what I do. I'm definitely not a street artist, but this is kind of a way of getting these ideas, I think, into a public realm. Was very interested in the strength of the subculture, if it could last in the media attention it was getting. And from then, I realized that my major inspiration with all these subcultures was the idea of transcending and sort of what people did to get out of their body, whether it was via dancing, via religion, via taking drugs. And that's really the base of my work, is this idea of this sort of age-old notion of trying to transcend the present. The core of my work is, it's constantly revolving around altered states. I don't have a medium that I stick to by any means. It can vary drastically. It all depends on the idea and what's behind the motivation of the work, what I want to get across. A lot of times I'm positing conceptual art with psychedelic art, and the fact of the matter being that those two forms of art aesthetically are completely polar opposites. Psychedelic art is this overload of sensory, bombardment, riddled with effects, and conceptual art is generally the attempt to reduce art basically to its, to an idea. And so even though these two forms are polar opposites visually, I think that they sort of attempt to do a similar thing. Work. The moments of altered states, I think until you die, that's the ultimate one, I guess. We'll see.